Um, and it's important to know that you can reassign a variable. And reassigning means giving a new value. So reassign, assign again. And if we have some code like this, well, after running the first line, we see that x has a value of 7. And if we print x, it'll print out 7 because when we see that x non quotation marks, that means Python knows it's a variable. It'll go look for it in the frame, and it sees that x has a value of 7. But then once we run the next line and x gets updated to 9, then the next print line will print 9 because now in the frame, when we go to look up the value of x, the value is 9. One other bonus word I'll teach you that you won't see much in this class, but you should know for the future, is the word declare. And you won't see this word very often in this class, but you will see it in other languages. And declaring a variable is the first time, in Python, it's the first time you assign a variable a value. In some other languages, you can actually just create a variable without giving it any value, and that's what the word declare means. But in Python, we declare and assign a value for the first time at the same time. So the last thing I wanted to say about variables is that your variable name in Python has to follow these rules. It can't be anything. So it has to be made up of either letters, uppercase or lowercase, digits, or the underscore character. It can't start with a digit, and it can't be a reserved word. And so some examples of variables that are okay are here. So like x, Alex with a capital A, Alex2, stuff with underscores, all caps. But some things that you can't name are Alex at exclamation mark, because at and exclamation mark are both not allowed in a variable name, or something that starts with a number like first street, like I have written here, or a reserved word, which you don't know any yet, but you'll be learning them soon. One of them is for, which is used for loops, something we haven't learned about yet, but we will in a few weeks. And so it's very unlikely that you'll come across accidentally using those reserved words, but that is something you might see. So let's play with this a little bit more. Let's try some different variable names. So x, Alex. Let's see if Python is okay with this. We run it. We get 12. So yes, that's okay. What about what about all caps? 7. And also, are variables case sensitive? So what will this print? Is this line for reassigning the value of x Alex to be 7? Or is it a brand new variable? Well, let's run the code and find out. Well, we see that 12 gets printed. And so that means that the value of x underscore lowercase Alex didn't get overwritten or reassigned. And so that means that Python is indeed case sensitive. So if we print this out, we should see that first 12 gets printed and then 7, because lowercase Alex is 12, uppercase Alex is 7. Now, what would happen if you picked a name that's not okay? So like I showed you first street. First street equals 12. Let's print out first street. Python will actually tell you that something's wrong. It'll fail, and it'll say there's a syntax error. Now remember, syntax is the word for grammar in a programming language. And so this is Python telling you that you're not following the rules of grammar, something's wrong. And it actually points right to the variable name that's wrong, so first street. Another example that I showed you is for, which is a reserved keyword. And if I run this, we'll also see the invalid syntax error. Because for is a special word that Python uses for a very particular meaning, and so you can't try to assign a value to it and create a variable. The last thing I want to show you is an error that you might have happen a few times. You'll come across this. So like name1. Now let's say you create a variable named name1, but you try printing out referencing a variable name2 that doesn't exist. You have a little typo, you type 2 instead of 1. if we run this code, Python will give you a name error saying that the name2 is not defined. And what's going on here is Python will actually go to the frame and look for something, for a variable with the name name2, and it won't find anything. Any variable with the name name2, and so it'll spit out a name error telling you that something's wrong. You're trying to reference a variable that hasn't been assigned before. So that tells you that you need to go back to your code and figure out what your typo is. So we can fix that and run this, and 12 will get printed. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the input function that we used last week in our lab. And I want to just review it in class to make sure we all understand what's going on. We learned how to output using the print function. So print name1. Now we're going to learn how to take things in from the terminal. So print puts stuff out on the terminal. Input is going to be how we take things in. And so this function input in parentheses, well, it takes in as an argument to that function whatever text you want to print out on the screen to tell the person and ask them what they should give you. So whatever prompt you want to give, you give in parentheses. And then now that you know about variables, this should make more sense. You store the value of this input, so whatever the person actually provided as input, in a variable to be able to use it later. And so this is an assignment that's happening here. Answer is the variable, and the value that the user inputs is then assigned to the, in this case, answer variable. But we can name our variable anything. So let's try that out. Let's call this name instead of name1. And we're going to use this new function. So we're going to have name equals input. And we're going to type, please tell me your name, :space. And then if I save this file, and I go back here, and I run the code, we'll see that please tell me your name gets printed to the terminal, because that's the prompt. And then there's this flashing box. And that flashing box means that the program is waiting for you to provide some sort of input. And the way you provide input is by typing here. So you type, okay, well, my name is Alex. And when you're done providing the input, you hit enter. And that'll, in this case, it's printing out Alex because on line 4, we wrote print name. So that's our input function. If we want to ask a different question, how old are you? Maybe we should change our variable name to be age. This makes more sense. And if we take an input asking how old you are, how old are you? Okay, well, I don't know, let's say I'm 50. Hit enter. Now 50 gets printed to the screen because I print out the value of this variable. Okay, that's everything for today. I will see you all in class on Monday to try applying some of these concepts all together. And then next lecture, we're going to learn about types, different types of in Python. And so we've been kind of seeing these a little bit. You've been seeing strings, you've been seeing numbers, which have been integers so far. And we're going to learn about what a type is and all the different types that we need to know in this class. See you on Monday.